في حلقة اليوم، بوتيك سيرفان شغف عائلي بالشوكولا دفع العائلة لتوارث المهنة والبحث في أصول الشوكولا. وفي لندن بوتيك جون لوب صانع أحذية الملوك والمشاهير. أما إذا أردت مجالسة سيغموند فرويد وتنال الكعكة التقليدية للنمسا، فمقهى سنترال تاريخ يروي تاريخا. والجامع بين هذه البوتيكات عمرها الذي يتجاوز 100 عام. مقهى سنترال تحفة معمارية وشاهدة على الحرب العالمية الأولى، فيها حيكة المؤامرات وعقدت اتفاقيات. الخطوط الهندسية المعمارية تسرق الناظر، حيث تتجلى عظمة الماضي فناً خالصاً في مقهى سنترال في فيينا.
The guy was sitting over there in front of the entrance. Peter Altenberg was a German writer and poet, and he's living just around the corner at the Graben in a hotel. And it was said if he's not here, he's on the way to the Café Central. So he was very, very often here. The architecture is made by Heinrich von Ferstel. He was a very young architect, made also the votive church here in Vienna, for instance, and was been selected to create the first stock exchange of Vienna. And this building was before the first really stock exchange. It was built up in 1860, and was inspired to Italian journey. And this is the reason why it's so in Italian Trecento architecture. It's called. And this makes our coffee house really, really unique here, also in Vienna, where a lot of coffee houses exist. The building was built 1860, and after move out of the stock exchange, and also the Austrian-Hungarian National Bank was here inside, so it was a very important place. In 1876, two brothers opened the Café Central. It was the first owner, and they're called Brothers Pach. They called themselves Zentralisten because due to the fact of the name of Café Central, and was people such as Hugo von Hofmannsthal, Klimt also, Arthur Schnitzler, Sigmund Freud, and a lot of poets and writers here, which are more known in the German market, like Alfred Polgar, also architect Loos. We have here the life-size papier-mâché figure from Peter Altenberg, was a local poet and writer, so a lot of writers and poets. also have two very nice dessert products. This is one, the Klimt Nusskuss. So, and on top is a layer of the Kuss painting. And the Klimt Surprise, as the name said, it's a little bit of surprise. It's with caramel, chocolate, coffee, a mixture of them. It's a kind of surprise. So two products in the Klimt year 2012 here in the Café Zentral.
الكعكة التقليدية في النمسا اختصاص كافيه سنترال، حافظ التاريخ والتقاليد العريقة.
And it was different like today, of course. Yeah, there was only one lady here. It was the lady who made the waiter, the servers, and got the fees from the servers. And the visitors have been only the men. Yeah, it completely changed than today. Yeah, and they meet here to discuss world discussion, talk about politics. We had more than 280 daily different kind of newspapers in more than 20 languages.
عندما يجلس الكبار لمناقشة أحوال العالم في مقهى سنترال، يصبح كلامهم مشوقا في مكان يبتكر أشهى الحلوى وأكثرها جذبا.
Yeah, and about the atmosphere, it's with these columns, with more than 300 square meters, coffee house, with little tables like that, with some little cozy corners where you can sit together by 4 persons and as well discuss something, how you plan your next day in Vienna. So I think it's a combination of everything.
بعد الفاصل.
We're not producing models like the fashion houses to sell to people. We're producing simply what they want.
بدأ حياته بصنع أحذية لعمال مناجم الذهب، وأصبح مصمم أحذية الملوك والأثرياء. إنه جون لوب. في هذا الشارع في لندن تختبئ أسرار صغيرة، وتحديداً في هذا الدكان الذي يدعى جون لوب.
Sometimes shoes that we make may be considered haute couture by the wearers, but we make anything that a customer wants. That's what we're up to. We're not producing models like the fashion houses to sell to people. We're producing simply what they want. Yes, it's been described as the most beautiful shop in the world. Well, that's a nice compliment. In a way, it's a bit of history here. What you see around you goes back, 100 years probably, and nothing has changed. So, for that reason, it's become rather attractive. Now, we're in this shop in St. James's Street, and we've been here now 50 years. We've been in this street for over 100 years. He was actually a farmer in Cornwall originally, born into a farming family, but he had an accident. We're told he fell off a donkey and couldn't continue to be a farmer, so he was apprenticed to the local bootmaker. He went to Australia. It was the time of the gold rush, he thought it better to make boots for the miners rather than try and find gold. And he found that a good thing to do. He was successful. He started a business in Sydney and finally came back to London. We tend to make a lot of classic shoes, I must say, because they go on and on. People, they're practical, they look nice, and people like them. And of course, as I was talking about exotic leathers, crocodile is rather nice, rather expensive, but very nice. Okay, so this is the first part of the measurements. We just take an outline of the foot. And that's it. That's all the measurements for the outline. Around the foot you go. And just take 3 simple measurements. You can take a measurement and make a little nick. Then around the instep, around the heel. And there we have it. It's not always so noticeable, but if somebody wears ready-made shoes that are particularly uncomfortable and they have a pair that made that for them, they notice the dramatic difference. We use a wide selection of leathers, in upper leathers particularly, of course, because there are different grains and colours and thicknesses and different varieties of animal. And they come from, I suppose, all over the world where they're produced sometimes. They're often tanned in Europe. More and more we have trained our own people because there are very few firms that do this work now. When I joined, there were quite a lot. And as they closed, so there were people who did the work who came to join us.
قوالب أقدام شاء أصحابها أن يدفعوا مبالغ مالية عالية ليحصلوا على حذاء مريح.
King George V we have there, the Duke of Windsor, Emperor of Ethiopia, not so many emperors around these days, the King of Thailand, King Farouk of Egypt, Randolph Churchill, we were talking about Winston Churchill, that was his son. Amy Johnson, an aviator, she might be a little bit known. Some of the more famous ones in recent years we've managed to keep, Frank Sinatra, for instance. He's still very well known and still heard, of course. And Lord Olivier, perhaps people don't know him so well, but he was a very, very good actor, one of the famous actors. Lord Olivier, Duke Ellington, another famous name there.
أوروبا الأرستقراطية لا زلت تجدها في أماكن مثل هذه، حيث تتلمس الوجه المرفه للأزمنة الغابرة.
Our shoes, of course, are made entirely by hand throughout. The quality, I think there's no doubt about that, because the crafts that men and women that work on these shoes take a great pride in what they do. The elegance, well, that comes with, again, if it's made properly, and you've got a proper last, you can produce an elegant-looking shoe. It's to do with proportion and shape, and so it all goes together. You've virtually got the shoe completed. It stays on the last for a while, the last is taken out, it's polished, laces are put in, and it's ready for the customer.
بعد الفاصل.
On montait un plateau et on coupait les chocolats en 4 et on goûtait.
ثمة أشخاص يجوبون حقول الكاكاو في العالم ليقدموا نكهة شوكولا فريدة تحمل اسم سيرفان.
Cette boutique a été créée donc en 1913 et c'est monsieur et madame Servant qui l'ont tenue et mes parents ont racheté il y a 50 ans. Voilà, et donc après moi j'ai suivi ainsi que mes enfants qui poursuivent dans le chocolat.
يتوارث الزبائن ذكرياتهم في دكان سيرفان، كما توارثوا النكهة التي ترسخت بفضل مالك الدكان المحب للحلوى.
Mon papa, c'était déjà un homme imposant parce qu'il devait faire 150 kilos. Il était très grand et au niveau professionnel, c'est vraiment quelqu'un d'extraordinaire. J'ai jamais vu, il était toujours habillé en blanc et j'ai jamais vu avec une trace de chocolat. Il faisait ses chocolats, bon, il devait dans la journée et le soir, c'était, on montait un plateau et on coupait les chocolats en 4 et on goûtait. Chaque chocolat a un goût complètement différent. Le goût est important dans ce métier. Faut tester. Nous, pour mettre une recette au point, on met 6 mois parfois. C'est très long pour arriver à faire quelque chose de bon et c'est très très long.
Par exemple, on a l'araguani qui vient du Venezuela avec des notes très fortes en réglisse. Voilà, c'est un 72%, des notes très fortes en réglisse. Et ça, c'est le préféré de la clientèle. Tous les ans, on recherche une nouvelle variété de chocolat amer. Voilà. Après, là, on est arrivé à 86%.
C'est d'aller voir comment ça se passe, d'aller voir les gens. Parce que les planteurs sont des gens très intéressants. Les grands crus, dans chaque pays, si vous voulez, les goûts sont différents. Vous avez le chocolat du Venezuela, il a un goût fruité. Même d'une plantation à l'autre au Venezuela, le chocolat peut avoir un goût complètement différent.
En fin de compte, ici, chez Maison Servant, la grande diversité, c'est le client qui choisit. On fait un chocolat, il nous plaît, mais après, on le fait goûter aux clients. Et on voit si les clients aiment, et ben, on le continue. C'est un peu eux qui nous gouvernent un petit peu.
يومياً يتم اختبار النكهة ويشرف كبير الطهاة على دقة الطبخ وتميزه ليتحول الدكان إلى المكان الأشهر في صنع الجناش.
La ganache, parce que Philippe vous en a parlé, c'est une histoire. C'est un chocolatier à Moulins qui faisait fondre du chocolat. Et son apprenti, sans faire exprès, a renversé de la crème fraîche. Le chocolatier était furieux. Il l'a traité de ganache. Et en refroidissant, il a mélangé la crème et il était très en colère, la crème et le chocolat. Et en refroidissant, il s'est aperçu que c'était très bon. Et d'où vient le nom de ganache. Voilà. Et de ce fait, il s'est aperçu aussi avec la ganache, on peut mettre du café, des alcools, on fait une infusion au thé jasmin, on fait avec du poivre à la baie rose, donc c'est pareil, on infuse le poivre pour que la ganache ait ce goût. Souvenirs, nos clients, bon, les parents sont venus, ils amènent leurs enfants, après les enfants ramènent leurs enfants et puis On a toujours une clientèle qui revient ici pour le souvenir d'autrefois. Un chocolat est un bijou. Nous, on a plutôt le fait d'avoir beaucoup de marchandises. Il faut que ce soit rempli, si vous voulez. Je suis chocolatière et c'est un beau métier.